Welcome to Parentcast. I'm Miss Charlie,
And my name's Charlene.
and the topic we're going to be talking about today is: do you think the school's curriculum prepares your child for their future?
No, I really don't. For example, I just go straight into it. Mortgage. I wouldn't say it's paramount that everyone has a mortgage in this country. However, it's good to, learn about investments and what to invest. And when I was at school, I feel as though they didn't prepare me, to go for the real world. When you go out there, okay, fair enough, you leave school, you do your GCSEs, and then if you get good grades, you can, get a good job, blah, blah, blah. However, you don't have to have good grades to have a successful life. So if they taught us about investments or just like I said, mortgages, okay, this is how to go about getting a mortgage, how to get on a property ladder.
Right.
I know they do business studies in schools, but even then I don't feel as...
I've heard of that.
Yeah, in my school, in my secondary school, they did. Secondary school we did business study.
It's all different because they are then taught different things essentially.
Exactly.
And I agree. I don't think that public school definitely does not prepare our children for our future.
No.
Or for their future. I disagree with that whole mentality of just having a child plod on through, these exams and through these studies, and some of them they're just ignored. Some of them, if they're not below or if they're not above, they're ignored, and they just kind of flow through. And I completely disagree with it. And our children are not pushed to the best of their potential for the simple fact that you can have a private school that is teaching children who are in reception about comprehension and teaching them about grammar and teaching them, and this is in reception. When my child was in reception, I was going to the school asking them why they wasn't expanding her knowledge further than I could at home. When my child started reception, which is attached to her now school, they came out to see me. They did their little home visit, and obviously, as you do as a parent, you want to make sure everything's spotless. You want to make sure everything's in play, and that they come and they get a really good gist of what you're like as a parent. And I think when they come, it was really funny because I just jumped out the shower and my daughter was in the front room playing with Lego. And they were like, oh, this is really good. She has a really good tactful skill. She's playing with Lego. This is really good for her development, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, okay, so I want to know what you're going to be teaching her. What is the next step so I can make sure I'm following along at home. And they was like, oh, well, we're going to start off with some jolly phonics. I was like, well, she knows her jolly phonics. Because we did that in nursery.
How old was she?
She was, before she started school, I think she turned 5 just as she started reception. And I was like, she already knows her Johnny Phonics. We've been doing that since she could look and listen. We had DVDs, we had songs, we had books, we had flashcards. I was like,
what would you have preferred that they taught her?
I kind of would have preferred for them to expand on her knowledge a little bit more. I think I would have expected them to earlier on start doing a little bit more of word recognition as opposed to letter recognition.
Okay.
And I guess in a public school, there are going to be complete vast different ranges of knowledge in the one class, and they are going to have to sort of somewhere along the mark see to everybody. But I don't think they do that very well.
Okay.
But then saying that, schools and public schools especially are very undercut in terms of budget.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And so it's very difficult. But I definitely don't think that I don't think it's preparing my child to be the best of her ability to be whatever she could be. I don't think so.
And what do you feel like the schools should implement then for our children to be successful?
I think parents' evenings, even though my child is only now in year 1, I think parents' evenings need to be a lot more tailored around the actual child.
Okay.
Because me and a friend whose child is in the same class as my daughter, we went to parents' evenings and got the same identical report. That's not good enough for me because my friend knows my child very well, and I know her child very well, and we know that there are differences within our children, and we know that, you know, my child might be able to do this whereas her child can't, and then her child is able to do this whereas my child isn't. And it's like, so actually you should not have been printing, copy and pasting. That is not, that's to me, that does. We actually went in there and spoke to the teacher together. We was like, what's this? What is this? You know? I don't think it's... And I get maybe she didn't have the time, maybe they don't have the money to keep her for the extra hours to pay her to do her job properly, but actually this is not substantial to me. Of course, no. You know?
You're not going to, when you leave parents' evening, you want to leave knowing what you can work on with your child. Knowing what you know, how's your child going to achieve, but you're not going to get results like that, are you?
Right, exactly.
You know? So,
and especially when they're sending us home with a stapled sheet that's attached to everybody's thing to go home with like their first frequency words, when actually I've been doing frequency words with my child since she was able to listen. Do you know what I mean? Like, my child also goes to extracurricular classes, explore learning, because I don't think that her school is up to scratch. You know, and then even with Explore Learning, I'm always, you know, me and my fiance are always pushing them, like, okay, what did she learn today? You've given her all 4 cards, you've given her all 4 ticks, because they have like a little system. Yeah. And it's like, but when we ask her, what did she do today? I don't know, I just did some maths, I did this, or I played on the computer and I did that. And it's like, okay, but what did you learn today? Yeah, do you know what I mean? I don't want to pressure my child too much, but I do not think that just putting my child through school and just leaving her there is gonna prepare her for a future at all.
Like, for example, university, from what I've been told, someone told me that when you go to university, the one thing that they learnt at uni is that you're not better than anyone else. And what he meant that is that you can leave university and have, you know, a master's or whatever it is, right? When you actually go into the real world, it's more about experiences. Yep. Like, experiences are like, that's how you learn in life. That is the one, what do you call it?
And that's how you can prove that you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know what you're talking
about, that's the one main skill, you know?
Exactly.
So, I guess, you know, when you leave a school, you do need, it's all about, just reality. You know, the schools need to teach the child, okay, when you go into the real world, this is how you need to approach certain things. And
and I think you hit the nail on the head there when you spoke about mortgages and stuff like that, because you'll be surprised, there in private schools they do talk about those things. They do talk about investments. Okay. They do talk about mortgaging, and they do talk about taxes. There's so much more that they talk about, because they're actually they're not just teaching these children to go out in the world and work for somebody. They're teaching these children to be the leaders of tomorrow. Yes. Whereas in public schools, they are scrimping and scraping the bottom of the barrel to get the best out of what they can, and actually no, it's a class system. It is. And you're just teaching that child to stay in their lane.
You're right.
You know, and I definitely felt like that when I was at school. And I was diagnosed with dyslexia before I went into secondary. And my mum thought she'd chosen the best school for me because they had like a big sort of like dyslexic unit and whatever. But it was absolutely terrible. They took me out of my actual lessons to come and do Lego, or to come and do puzzles, or to, do you know what I mean? And the fact that I left school with really good grades and all A's to C's was simply because my mum had to come into the school, have meetings with head teachers, sub heads and whatever, and just say to them, this is not appropriate, and I will take you to court. And furthermore, I will go to public with this. I will go to the newspapers. I will go to the local councillor, the MPs. You will hear from me, you know. And she was so persistent that all of my teachers that had been failing me and just thought they could just get away with it, it was just another child, or they'll be gone in a year, or whatever, they'll be out of my hair soon. Actually, they had to pull their thumb out. And I went in, you know, lunch times I did extra, after schools I did extra, sometimes I'd go in early and do extra lessons or do extra bits on my coursework or whatever. And I actually ended up coming out of schools with really good grades.
Well done to your mum.
Literally,
or,
do you know what I mean?
Persistent and doing something about it.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult because I definitely think it is a class thing. It really is. And I guess it's like, maybe you're getting the value for your money if you're paying for private school. But I honestly think that children should all have fair and
Yeah, I was
square
going to say
start off in
it
life.
should be public schools, not just private schools that prepare
them for
children.
life. Yeah. I don't know if that question. I just think definitely not. I don't think they prepare them at all.
I don't.
And I could probably rule off so many things right now as to why, but genuinely I just don't think they do prepare them for the future.